Good morning or afternoon or evening, whatever it is when you're watching this. I wanted to tell you guys about my most recent trip. I was just thinking about this morning. So 2 years ago, I went to Europe for 4 months, I think is what I did. And it's interesting how I decided to do this because I was just feeling kind of down and wasn't sure what was going on. And just, I shouldn't even say down. I was just feeling off. And I kind of couldn't figure out what was going on. And then I realized, oh, I'm going to turn 50 in a few months. And it was really bothering me. And for those of you who are over 50, you probably totally understand what I'm saying. And for those of you who aren't, I feel like when you hit 50, you start to just think about, oh, I could go at any time now. I know that sounds morbid, but I don't have much time left. I don't know how much time I have left. You know, there's people who die in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. What will happen to me, you know? Or everybody's getting sick or something's happening. Like I've got stuff going on with I've got a immune problem, and just stuff happens, right? And so you start to think, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And what are the things that I wish I would have done? And so I was really thinking, like, I need to do something big next year. This was like in October, November. And I thought I need to do something big and do something I want to do because I'm going to turn 50 and I need to celebrate. Well, one thing I did is the entire month of February during my birthday, every day I did something for myself because I thought from now on I'm going to have month-long birthdays, but I'm getting off topic. Anyway, so I decided I was going to take a trip to the UK, and I was going to go to England and Wales and Scotland and Ireland. And I was talking to my sister about it, and I was trying to get somebody to go with me. And I said, "Do you want to go with me?" And she said, "No, but if you go to France, I'll go with you." And I thought, okay. So then I had been visiting my sister and other family in Indiana, and I drove down to South Carolina with my dad because he was here too. And we were kind of talking about it. And I said, yeah, why do I just need to go to those countries? Like I work online. I can go as long as I want to go. So we just kind of started talking about it. And I was saying, but you know, would I rent a car? Where would I stay? I was just kind of bringing up all the things I was worried about. And we got into Charleston, and this was like a Sunday. And I think a couple days later, we went downtown to the waterfront park, and we were standing by the waterfront looking out at the harbor. And this couple comes up and they stand right next to us, like right next to us. And there's all this room that they could stand, but they stood right next to us. And my dad and we both looked at each other like, what is this? And they just started talking to us, and they had just gotten back from, I think, like a 3-month, 4-month, 6-month, something like that trip to Europe. And they had gone to the UK, and they had gone to all the places I wanted to go. And it was just really interesting. They were telling me all the questions that I talked about with my dad on that road trip, all the things I was worried about. They answered the questions for me. It was so weird. And so my dad and I are walking away from we talked to them for probably 45 minutes to an hour, something like that. And we decided we were going to go get something to eat. So we said goodbye. We started walking, and both of us, our mouths were just hanging open, and we were looking at each other like, what was that? That was so weird. Because like I said, it was every question I had, they answered. They were talking about where they stayed, what they did, the safest areas. It was just really cool and really interesting. Anyway, so we're walking, and I look up and I see the street sign, and it says Melody Lane. And my mom, who passed away back in 2017, and that whole thing prompted my solo travel, her name was Melody. And I was like, oh my gosh, look at this, Dad, look at this. And he said, well, he's a little bit of a, what do I want to say? Not pessimist, but he doesn't really believe in that kind of thing, any kind of spiritual stuff like that. And he said, well, that sign's been there forever. And I said, I know, but I've never seen it. I think it's really interesting after the conversation we just had. So it kind of prompted me. I know this is a little woo-woo, but this whole story kind of prompted me to have the confidence that I should just go to Europe and spend a lot of time there and do what I originally wanted to do. So my little trip to the UK turned into a big 8-country, 4-month trip, and it was amazing. And I'll tell you more about that too, but that's kind of what started me on that trek. I wasn't planning on doing that until other people said things that made me think, yeah, why not? Life is short, right? So go out there and travel, and I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.